Just to further buttress what we have from the last class, this is how the structure of an HTML looks like. Remember the last class I told you that the core front-end technologies is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And where you do your designs or where whatever you are doing, where it will appear is your browser. So we have different browsers. We have Microsoft Edge, Chrome, Brave, and the likes. But the most popular one is Chrome. I think Edge is getting better these days. But I will always advise you develop whatever you want to do on Chrome so that although Chrome can be memory intensive, sha, but so this is a sample of how a website looks like. Although these are like modern, sophisticated websites, not all websites looks like this. You don't necessarily need to add all these clip art, circles, and shape as a beginner when you are designing your work. But they give that beautiful feeling. They helps to make your website looks more cooler, more sophisticated in nature. So you can see it at the side here. Okay, we talked about this in last class, responsive design, and without any further this, and I'll just show you my code editor just to give you an idea of how these things work. This is what we call a code editor. I'm going to open a new window for you guys. So we have different code editors. This one is just like the most popular one. Please, if you can't hear me or if you are not following, just let me know in the chat box. Although I can't see the chat box at the moment because I'm presenting for you guys, but I will always check it time to time. So this is how your code editor will look like when you download it for the very first time. Either you are using Visual Studio Code or Bracket or Atom or IDEs. So IDEs are like integrated development environment. They are a bit more sophisticated than normal code editors. Code editors are lightweight in the sense that they can open faster on your computer, especially for those that might be using computers of 2 gig RAM, uh, Core i3 or lower processor. Code editor is the way to go. Even if you are using uh, AI system, you can always use your code editor. Then you add extensions to it. You customize it the way you want. So here is where you can add your extensions to it, depending on the language or whatever you are writing. So you can, for HTML syntax, you can always install it. So what extensions do basically is that they are like snippets or sometimes tools that helps you when you are writing, when you are debugging, or when you are troubleshooting your code or stuff like that. For example, this HTML boilerplate that you are seeing, if you install it, I do not have it installed anyway because I rarely use it. VS Code has a kind of inbuilt one. But if you install it, it can help you to generate the HTML boilerplate, like a kind of a template, quickly and faster. So let's just create a new file to show you some little practical. So you come to your file, create a new file, and you can just select HTML. Just come here. So there are many ways to create this file. It's either you open a folder or you create it here or here where you are seeing this untitled. You can rename it, you can do whatever you like there. So the ideal way which I always advise beginner is to create a folder on their computer first because you want to keep things organized. Create a folder, name it your web class or whatever you want to call it, web tutorial or web design, and on your, let me close all of this. Let me minimize all of this. Yeah. Sorry, I have lots of things open that I'm doing, but I'll just minimize this. Then I will show you some sample codes from the ones I've written. So if you look at my system, you see that I have a kind of folder for almost everything. It helps to keep things organized. So you can just create a folder, call it web class. Let's call it development class basic folder. So this folder, you open it in your code editor. Just go to your desktop, look for it, web development class. So now you have a folder that will house all your files, everything you are creating from the go. Then you can create your file from this place, like I said, or you can come all the way here to create new files. The one I was using before. uh, Select a language or you fill it with template. That's the advantage of a code editor for you. If you say fill it with HTML template, it will fill it for you. Or on the other hand, you can close it and come here also where you see new file, new folder, and quickly create your file. Just call it index.html. Any of it works. It's just that here you cannot generate, you cannot click that select fill a template. If you want to generate the template here, you have to type HTML and select HTML5. So it will just generate a basic template for you. This is the basic HTML template structure. You have your IDOC. So the last class that I was telling you about tag, this is what is called a tag. This is your head tag, your body tag. This is your title tag. This is the name where you put the name of your website. And as a basic rule in HTML, when you open a tag, there must be a closing tag. Not for all the tags. That's why I said as a basic rule. But it doesn't hurt. Even if you apply a closing tag, nothing will happen. So the opening tag and the closing tag is kind of very similar. The only difference is for every closing tag, you have a forward slash inside of it, and that makes it a closing tag. This foundation is very important for you. Once you get this, when you start writing your React also, and you get to places like React or Angular, and you create components, and you see forward slash, instantly you'll be able to relate, because basically components in React are like self-closing. So they are, if you want to explain it to a layman without any technical terms or jargons, you can say that they are just like tags at the very simplest level, that you apply a closing, self-closing like this. I don't want to say that you apply a closing to, so I can say something like this, component, something this way. So this is a self-closing tag. But of course, there's nothing called component in HTML. That's why it's showing red. So we have predefined tags, which I will not be able to show you. This is just the basic one, your paragraph tag. And inside this folder, you can proceed to create other things like for your CSS, call it styles.css at the basic level, and your JavaScript. You can just name it script. So what I want you guys to take note of is the file format. Anytime you create index or HTML files, they end with HTML. And this basic index is where your server or your web page, that's the very first page that will be loaded. That's like the home page. So if peradventure you go to any website, let's say, let's pick a website like this. Let's say Bloomberg. And just wait a bit for it to load. Okay. So this very first page that you are seeing, That's what is referred to as the index page. That's the index.html. Every website have index.html. You don't rename it, you don't change it, except if you want to start doing server customizations and stuff like that, which you don't need at this moment. So just always put it as index.html. So for this particular website now, this is like the navigation bar where you can navigate easily and freely. So these are buttons, and this is like a basic website layout structure. Each of these is a box or something you might want to refer to as a container. And so you see that you have a basic website layout, basic website structure. This is another one. This is another one. So any website you are visiting, any web page you are trying to explore, you will see all this basic structure over and over and over again. And why you need to know about the basic structure is the fact that it helps you and it guides you when you want to write your code also, because you don't just jump into sorry, you don't just jump into writing code straight away. Like I told you before, you need to have idea of what you want to create in your mind. Okay, am I building a school website? Am I building a church website? Am I building an organization website? Is it a bank website? That will guide you. That will determine the structure, the layout, the pictures, and the elements that you are going to incorporate in that website. For example, if you want to build a bank website, it might do you a bit of good before you even say you want to start going into code at all, to look at how their layout is being structured. So if you want to look at this one a bit, you see that this is a navigation bar also, meaning that when you are creating a site, you should always have a navigation bar. It allows the users to navigate. So each of these are like card or small boxes. Then depending on the way you style it. Okay, this will explain it better. So you see you have those boxes which we refer to as basic containers. You see those boxes. This is also another box, except that an overlay, a video overlay was uh, added to it. So that's the basic layout of most websites. Once you understand the basic layout, it will guide you when you want to write your code. And when it comes to this code writing of a thing, anything that must show on your browser must be inside the body. You can't put it in the header. You can't say welcome to web development class. This is not going to appear on your browser because it is not inside the body. So if you were to load this on your normal browser, let's put it to test. Let's load it up. I'm just going to open the folder here and load it. Okay, just once. So ignore this one, the fact that it's showing there. It's not making sense, to be honest. We have issues at the end of the day. That's the problem with HTML, kind of. It doesn't respect your rules and the likes. But where you want to type everything, where you want to load everything is the body. So if you look at it and you compare it to a letter, imagine you are writing a letter. You don't want to put the content inside the title. You want to add the body of the letter. Same thing applies here. Everything you are going to be adding, images, videos, audio, colors, and everything. Put it inside the body. Always make sure that it's inside the body. There you'll be able to apply your formatting to it. And there your script will be able to run on it properly, kind of. So you will see that is a little bit formatted because I've put it inside a paragraph tag. That P stands for paragraph. At the basic level, HTML is very, very easy to understand. If you just go to Google and type HTML tags, you will see a lot of them, especially from W3 schools. So it contains a whole lot of them. It's not like you are going to use everything when you are working on a particular website. In fact, most of these HTML tags, you won't use them. We have popular ones or the most commonly used: the head tag, the p tag, the div, the page set if you are creating a form, footer tag, image tag for adding images, input tag. Those are the most commonly used and most popular one. So, for example, this input tag allows you to collect input from a user. You are building a form, you want to collect their date of birth, their name, their whatever, or maybe login. Let's look at this as a sample. Okay, you see something like this. This email and password is built with your input tag, and this one is built with the button tag. So, but for most of it, like I said, you won't be needing it. You won't necessarily be using it. This is used for creating a list. It all depends on the concept of the website you are working on. I won't dwell too much on HTML so that I can show you a bit of CSS also. So for your CSS, like I told you the last time, is used for adding styles to your work. Let me quickly generate something there. Let's generate. So ignore this, it's just a text generator. Uh, let's assume that you have this text on your website and you saved it and it's loading up. But of course, you want to add styles to it. The way it's looking is not nice. CSS allows you to add styling to it. Now, there are three ways you can add your style. We have the inline CSS, we have internal CSS, we have external CSS. Time will not permit me to show you everything anyway. Probably subsequently in your other classes, you meet it better. So, but at a very basic level, you can just add a basic style to this using your internal CSS. This is internal. Just create a style tag and say can set the type equals to test slash css and pick the tag. Then you apply your color to it. Let's say color blue. So let's go back to this and reload. So you see that everything is now blue. Now, why this other one is also blue, this welcome to the web development class, is because I'm applying the style, the color in this case, I'm applying it to the tag directly, the p tag. So anywhere you have p tag in this entire code on this particular page, this color blue will affect it. So, and that is why in CSS we have what we call CSS selectors. You don't necessarily want to apply a particular color, a particular style to all the tags. So you want to make use of your CSS selectors, which basically is classes and IDs. You can set a class to this. It's as simple as it can. Just say the class and give it any name. Uh, let's call this web. So instead of styling this particular tag itself, you style this class only. That's a selector. Because it is a class, before you reference the class name, you append a dot. So you put your dot and you call the name of the class. Whatever you call it here is what you call it in your CSS. The reason why I'm using internal CSS for you is so that you can see everything at a glance. So if you call this one, maybe you call this one car, then here it has to be a car. So now this style will only apply to this lorem ipsum. It will not affect this web development class. So when you reload it again here, you see this one is no longer blue except for this. And just like the HTML also, there are a lot of CSS styles, CSS properties to be precise. There are so many out there, from the color to the font to the margin to the padding. Those are the basic and popular ones. To the display, you have flares, you have grid. We encourage you after this class to try as much as possible to look at them. And as you are looking at them, try to create a sample web page so that you have a better understanding. W3 school will really help you a lot. And if you don't want W3 school, if you want to take it further, you can also visit Free Code Camp. Then, with the help of a mentor and instructor, any challenge you face will become very, very easy to navigate. But HTML and CSS is kind of very popular in the sense that you see many things online. But like I advise you, a class is always better. And the reason for that is because you'll be guided and you save time. You have access to instructors if you are facing challenges and the likes. You get quick solutions and the likes. So, compared to if you want to do it all alone, there was a time I was trying to learn Bootstrap. That's a CSS framework. Because I do not have a proper mentor then, I had to spend like 3 months trying to understand Bootstrap, something that would have taken 1 week or 2 weeks if I have a good mentor then. So if you come to CSS selectors, or this time around CSS properties, as the case may be, you will see a whole lot. They all have their uses. I'm just going to show you some few because the time is not really on our side. So we have other ones like font size. You can say let's increase this to 45 pixel. So you have your, let's look at this first before I explain CSS unit to you and we move on. So you see it's bigger. That's the advantage of font size. It's more like the same font you have in your Microsoft Office and the likes. So we have other ones like font family, font weight, and the likes. And basically, now I've mentioned CSS style to you, how to write it. I told you that we have three majorly: inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. Then we look at CSS selectors, which is classes and ID. And the ones I'm telling you about currently, all these color font size are CSS properties. We also have what we call CSS unit, or that you might want to refer to as basic unit of measurement on the web, which primarily is pixel. So you have pixel. For example, I can tell you that my screen size, that is, if you look at it horizontally and vertically, I can tell you that is 1440 pixel times 960 pixel. It's important to know that when you start dealing with images. But we also have other units like REM and EM, which are like responsive units. And you have ones like percentage also. When you are trying to create a responsive website, that is a website that you'll be able to view on any device very well, either on Techno or Samsung or iPhone 12 or iPhone 14 and the likes, it's best to use EM or Haro EM. So percentage is more like it will always take, how do I explain it now? Like it will always try to take a percent of your total screen. If your total screen, let's assume from ear to ear is 100%, that's the width. If I say 30%, it will calculate it. It will kind of do an internal calculation underneath and then give me the size based on that. For example, in this pixel, where you have this 45 pixel, if I had put 5%, to try to do a calculation. See? So sometimes necessarily it's not good to use percentage, especially when you are dealing with fonts and the likes. You want to use either pixel or, to be on a very safe side, use EM or Haru EM. So that's it for more understanding about CSS. Then you can now look at JavaScript itself. Like I told you the last class, JavaScript allows you to add interactivity to your website. You come to any website here, you click and it responds to you. This is JavaScript at work, although you can use CSS. The current CSS we have nowadays is quite advanced, but majorly JavaScript does all the trick underneath. For example, some of these drop downs, you click on the drop down, or let's click on this one so that we can have a good idea. No, no, don't let me use first one for you. Okay, let me get a good login, a website with a good login page. Mm, okay, let's assume this W3 school. So you are trying to log in, you click this button, this validation that you are seeing, please enter your email and password. There are things that you do with JavaScript. And JavaScript is also a full-fledged programming language. You can use it at the back end also. It's not just for front end only. So what I'm trying to tell you in essence is that you are not really bust. In fact, most front end developers, that is those that are very, very, very good in JavaScript, or if you have that detailed understanding, you can easily use Node.js at the back end. And let me show you a sample of it. So this is Node.js. This is how your JavaScript kind of looks like if you are working with it. And JavaScript is also what is responsible for all those React, Angular, and the likes. This is a React code base, a sample one. So this is how your CSS looks like. This is external CSS. You see all these background padding, border radials, and when you start looking at the pages, even though you are seeing that HTML tag, you will see a bit of JavaScript in it also. So this is a bit of JavaScript, all this function and the likes. So I'm just going to introduce you a bit to JavaScript. It makes use of variable like any other programming language. And at basic level, what you just need to understand about JavaScript is you need general basic programming language. You need to know that as far as programming languages, as far as they are concerned, they deal with syntax, they deals with data type, they deals with variables. So the data type cut across all of them.